Between 1976 and 1977, 7 young women disappeared around Adelaide. At first, the cases seemed unrelated, scattered vanishings of girls and young women from different suburbs, different walks of life. But the truth was far darker. Their bodies would eventually be found in shallow, lonely bushland graves near a rural town called Truro, a place where the everyday silence hides one of South Australia's most haunting nightmares. Today, we are diving into the Truro Murders, the disturbing crimes of Christopher Worrell and James Miller. To understand the Truro Murders, we need to look at the unsettling partnership between 2 men, Christopher Worrell and James Miller. Worrell was 23, charismatic, manipulative, known for his intense, predatory behavior toward women. He had a disturbing criminal history, violent assaults, sexual offenses, and a pattern of domination over everyone around him. People who met him often described him as magnetic, but with something off beneath the surface. Miller, on the other hand, was the opposite. He was quiet, lonely, almost invisible. He was 38, 15 years older than Worrell, and completely controlled by him. Where Worrell was dominant, Miller was submissive. Where Worrell demanded, Miller obeyed. It was a dynamic built on fear, manipulation, and disturbing loyalty, and together, they became one of Australia's most chilling criminal duos. The known victims were all young women between the ages of 15 and 26. Many were hitchhiking, common practice in the 1970s. Their names deserve to be remembered. Veronica Knight aged 18. Tanya Kenny aged 15. Sylvia Pittman aged 16. Vicky Howell aged 26. Connie Jordan aged 16. Juliet Miketa aged 16. Deborah Lamb aged 20. Most of them vanished without a trace. Families reported them missing, but at the time, the cases were scattered, treated as isolated runaways or one-off disappearances. No one yet knew they were all connected. According to James Miller, the only surviving offender, the pattern was always the same. Worrell would spot a hitchhiker. They would offer her a lift. And once she was inside the vehicle, she was no longer safe. Miller claimed he never initiated violence. He said Worrell would sexually assault the victims while Miller waited in the car. But after the assault, Worrell didn't want witnesses. He allegedly instructed Miller to kill them. Miller later testified that he strangled several of the victims under Worrell's orders, out of fear and blind devotion. But many investigators believe this wasn't the full truth. Some bodies showed injuries inconsistent with Miller's version. Some believe Miller played a far more involved role than he admitted. And then, everything stopped. The disappearances suddenly ended, and for months, there were no more cases. But there was a reason. Christopher Worrell died in a car crash. On February 3, 1977, Worrell and a female friend were driving near Karoonda when a tire blew out. The car rolled, killing Worrell instantly. The killings ended the moment he died. To many, that alone confirmed he was the driving force, the predator, the engine behind the murders. But Miller's involvement was far from over. In 1978, nearly a year after Worrell's death, Miller confided in a woman he had become close to. He told her everything: the assaults, the killings, the bodies in the bushland. Shocked, she went to police. Miller was arrested and interrogated. Within days, he began leading investigators to the burial sites. Over the next several months, police uncovered 7 bodies in the dry, isolated scrub around Truro. The scenes were grim: shallow graves, scattered remains, and evidence of severe violence. The investigation became one of the largest in South Australian history. At trial, Miller tried to minimize his role. He claimed he never touched the victims unless Worrell forced him to. He painted himself as a loyal follower trapped under the influence of a dangerous man. But prosecutors didn't buy it. They argued that Miller was not just a witness, but an active participant. In 1980, James Miller was convicted of 6 counts of murder. He received a life sentence, later becoming eligible for parole, though he died in 2008 while still in custody. Christopher Worrell, the man many viewed as the mastermind, never faced justice. His death in the car crash closed his chapter before it began. Decades later, several chilling questions still remain. Did Miller minimize his role? Many investigators believe he was far more involved than he ever admitted. Were there more victims? Some sites showed signs of disturbed soil, suggesting more graves that were never found. Did Worrell plan the murders? His history of violence and control suggests he may have been hunting victims long before Miller was involved. And why Truro? Was it chosen for convenience, or did it hold a darker significance? Even now, The case leaves behind an eerie feeling, as if the full truth never surfaced. The Truro Murders remain one of South Australia's most disturbing criminal cases, a haunting combination of manipulation, violence, and unanswered questions. 7 young women lost their lives. 7 families left to grieve. And 2 men, bound by domination, loyalty, and twisted desire, left a permanent scar on the state. The Truro Murders left behind far more questions than answers. Was Miller the submissive follower he claimed to be, or a willing participant? Did Worrell have more victims who were never found? Why did they choose the quiet bushland around Truro? And are there still secrets hidden out there today? Let me know in the comments. What do you think really happened? This has been the Midnight Cult. If you'd like more deep dives into Australian crime, mysteries, disappearances, and unsolved cases, make sure to like this video and subscribe.